now we're back. For the sixth part of this demo, I'll probably go until 8 parts. And then I will call it a day on that, because at that point I should be done. A quick check to show you a couple of things. A lot of the parts that you bring into Maya are already pre-mapped. For instance, this nose cone and one of the propeller blades started off as exactly the same sphere. And a sphere, I'll just show you what that looks like. Okay, there's a 20 division sphere. As you can see, it's very spherical. Yeah, a little bit of faceting. So you got a disco ball. In the UVs, however, it's laid out to fill the entire point. I mean, the entire texture square, a projection box. So you have the triangles at the poles, and here at the middle point you have the equator. Cylinders are the same. And here's the cylinder. But the difference in cylinders is they fill in one direction. And these top faces are in no way proportional to the actual size of the cylinder. They just expand it out to fill the box, and they fill the box vertically. So no matter how thin and pipey looking your cylinder is, it's still going to come in looking exactly like this. A cube shows all 6 faces equally, and it fills the box as best it can. So even if you made the cube in some really strange proportions, the box, it's still going to come out looking as 6 even faces. Got that? Now, NURBS objects already come with mapping coordinates as well, but their mapping coordinates are always square because a NURBS object is actually just a rubber sheet pulled into its shape. There's almost an easy button Rio for doing UVs, but exists in 3D Studio Max, and it's called pelt mapping. And it's great for characters and for vehicles. It sucks like a bucket of ticks. Now on the propeller, each okay. Question is, why don't I use pelt mapping? Because pelt mapping is for characters. Um, it keeps the proportions but not the orientation correctly. So it turns straight lines into graceful curves. Machines are made mostly of straight lines. Even this airplane, the panel lines are straight. The secret on pelt mapping is you have to know a little bit about how skinning a real animal works and which method of skinning is best for whatever application. I mean, I had to write up a whole thing for a job about pelt mapping and why it was useful, but what were the pitfalls? Um, the whole thing about pelt mapping is placing the seams correctly. And the more seams you put in, the less distortion you have. As the example I put on the Fur Affinity page is a bearskin rug is the UV map of a bear. The propeller here is three objects combined into one. The prop blades, which are three copies of one, the fan, and the spinner. Since the blades and spinner were made out of the same sphere, just cut in half, and one half becoming the blade and the other half becoming the spinner, it was already mapped and it already filled it, so all I had to do was scale it up to fill the whole box. So and there's everything. But since it's three materials, I'll show you each one. These are the propeller blades. This is a spinner. And the fan is somewhere around here. Prop fan. Oh, son of a bitch. There, now we're back. There. The prop fan has got an unusual UV layout because of the way it's supposed to be used. In Second Life, you can change the material scale in one axis. You can also pan it in one axis as well. So what I did was I started off with a cylinder, which gave me the straight lines, and then I cut the ends off, added a division in the middle, and expanded that up to the radius of the prop blades. And then I knocked out the faces between the blades for the spaces. Then I took each piece and overlapped it with the first one so that each blade shares identical texture coordinates with the blade next to it, so that anything done to one blade is done simultaneously and equally to all three blades. That way the propeller blur can respond to throttle changes by reducing its rate of rotation but increasing the spread of the blurred blade image by narrowing the textures along the U direction. Aeon may want to go something even simpler and just do a single two-sided square plane over the blades and then just swap textures for the blur. I think the solution's more elegant and looks better, but Aeon doesn't want to script it and he wants to keep it simple. So I am at the mercy of my scripters. But because I used already pre-map prims, I don't have to map those parts anymore, so I'm just going to leave them as is. Always spend time giving your model a look over so you get an idea of what's going on and where everything is. So still working on the fuselage. We can do this piece. The front part here is a canvas boot that covers the mechanism for the tail wheel. And this back part here is a bumper in case the suspension knocks the wheel into the fuselage. So we'll just go ahead and do a lazy sideways planar map there and then open it up in detail. So the y-axis, bang. Oh, that didn't work. Y-axis, not X. Did we lose the feed? Nope. Okay. Have we lost the window? No, it still seems there. Okay. As you can see, it's entirely too large and it's flipped the wrong way around. While it's large, well, the map coordinates are large, we can go in tight and make sure the squares are square. And then shrink everything. And then hold down shift and click the fuselage so we get an idea of placement. And that goes right on this middle piece right here. So I'm going to go ahead and place it there. Hitting the F key focuses on your work and also changes your camera pivot. So that it will rotate around the work you have selected. Okay. Yes, I am going to put the window in the floor. See, there's the window. I just haven't assigned the glass material to it yet and added it to the class object. Like I said, I want this to be a right proper dive bomber for Second Life. Just like the first one I made was. The one that a certain somebody used to bomb the shit out of the Gore Sims because the bomb object was mod OK and allowed you to put your own scripts in. So putting in area effect damage that affected the Gore combat meter was child's play. And since they're melee combat people, their draw distance was set to like 64 or 128 meters, and she was cruising around at 256 or 500 meters dropping bombs. They never knew what hit them. And as for your offer to script this series, I could take you up on this, but you'd have to get this thing scripted in a week. I will let you discuss that with Aeon because Aeon is interested in this bird. He's in the middle of, I think, tweaking the 109E. Volti Vengeance, maybe, but I think the K99. We'll see. Actually, let's do this one right. And this will keep the objects separated. Gotta keep them separated. Now the tail wheel itself, because it's using a texture scroll, is just a cylinder pulled into shape. The triangles are where the hubs are, and if you just paint the textures for the wheel linearly, everything will fit. Tailwheel presents an interesting problem. It's a very complex object. And while we could just do the same thing and map it from one direction, the problem. Have a good day, Spectre Wolf. The problem we have with the tail wheel is it's got all these cuts in it too, and we also want to avoid mirroring the UVs so that we can do a proper AO bake on it. So let's look at what the UVs look like now. And since it was made from a cylinder, a six-sided cylinder originally, you can see that its UV maps bear no relation to what it looks like now. Let's try an automatic map and see what we get. Create UVs, automatic mapping. Boom! Every face is mapped. Every face is undistorted. And most of the faces are disconnected into this jumble of we know not what. You can kind of figure out what the pieces are because these are the insides of the yoke that holds the wheel, and this is the outside with one line to give it a little bit of round fatness there. But we'll pull all the UVs out on the side because we're going to stitch it together. Now, in truth, I could leave it this way, but I can't because it's part of the same map as the same material as the fuselage and has to go on the same map. So I have to organize it in such a way that I can put the pieces together, shrink it, yet keep it somewhat recognizable as to what it is. So while it's large and proportional, I'm going to go ahead and put everything together this way. This right here is the bottom of the yoke with the axle piece. Here and here. Now this could be useful, but I'm thinking not. So I'm going to go ahead and separate everything for left and right halves. Oh, it's already separated. Never mind. I'm going to go ahead and add the inside. And the outside. Try to keep seams where parts will crease or there's a hard edge. And these points up here overlap a little bit, and we don't want that, so we'll just go The piece is so small, a little bit of distortion won't be that noticeable. And then the wheel hubs, we'll add those to the outside. We will also arrange it. So we'll put all the seams at the bottom and try to preserve the orientation on the top. What we don't have is we don't have the material here. We can place it either here or on the outside. And I'm thinking, since it's a bottom piece, I want to put it on the inside. So let's go ahead and see what that looks like. And I changed my mind. Let's do it this way. Therefore, less distortion. Now you can kind of see how a good UV map looks kind of like how you would skin an animal or unfold origami. Right there we've got the yolk mostly mapped already. And so the yolk part is done. Or is it? 1, 2, 3, 4. We don't have that part. One, two, three, four, five, six. Now, is there a little lip there? Nope, there is not. Good. It's already taken care of. If you got any questions, please pipe up. Now remember what I said about being able to select faces in the UV editor, and that's sometimes very useful. These faces here are the top of the shaft, which are going to be hidden by the canvas boot and also the fuselage there. So it's not really needed. So once those are highlighted, you can just hit backspace and they're gone, and you don't have to map them. Now with the yoke done, we need to go to the shock absorber and the little steering piece. Now I'm wondering if I can get away with this. And I can. And I want to put the seams on the bottom. So we'll do that. This is that piece right there. And the shaft is 8-sided, so, and it's fat, so we can pick those out like this and just stitch them together quickly. And then to make sure it's all 8 faces and make it all even, close enough, it's small. And then you just arrange the parts. These faces here are hidden and not needed. Those can be deleted. And these are, I think, for the guide link. And that's 6, so that's fine. And the rest of this is for that little piece that connects the yoke to that support ring. And there it's even. Laying out UV islands can be quite a bit like playing Tetris. What's that part of? Oh, and then we got these two little squares up here. What do they belong to? Okay, they are part of the inside, so I think it's that. Nope. It's that. There. All the parts to the tail wheel yoke are finished, so shrink them down, select the map, maybe make them a little bigger because it is a mechanical part, and people may want to add a little painted detail to that, so we'll just make that about like that. That's not too bad. And that, I think, finishes the fuselage. And I'm going to take a break for a few minutes, and then I'll be right back, and then we'll finish off the wings and the horizontal stabilizers. And at that point, the UV mapping for this should be done. Okay, I will save this out, and I will see you in a few minutes.